Hi there, Steve Kaufman. Today I want to talk briefly about grammar and about my recent trip to Peace River. Um, I was recently up in northern Alberta in the Peace River country, which is spectacular country. There are great fields of wheat and canola, which is rapeseed, forests, there's oil, not so many people, but very friendly people and a rougher, sort of different lifestyle to what we have here in Vancouver. I fly to Edmonton and then from Edmonton transfer, take another flight to Grand Prairie and then drive 2.5 hours north. The reason I mention it is because while on my plane, actually we were flying from Grand Prairie to Edmonton, there was a passenger who spoke only French, and he was asking his neighbor, who was a lady who was basically an English speaker, it was a young fellow and probably not a very experienced traveler, and he was trying to find out what happens to his luggage. And so this lady was trying to explain in her high school French. She did quite well compared to the level of most English speaking Canadians. But what struck me was that here was this woman who had quite a few words, but all her verbs were in the infinitive, vous, prendre, bagage, penser, whatever. And I have noticed that often that graduates of the Canadian, English school system who learn French, all they really remember is the words. Despite the emphasis on grammar, and in particular in French, obviously in all Latin languages, the tenses are a problem because depending on person and number and I, you, we, go, did go, went, everything changes. And in English, we're not used to that. So there's a lot of emphasis. I remember from my school days, and I know it hasn't changed, a lot of emphasis on the tenses. And yet, overwhelmingly, people graduate and they speak in the infinitive because teaching people about grammar doesn't enable them to produce it correctly. Rather, lots of exposure does. And that's why now granted, English may be easier insofar as tenses are concerned, maybe not, but Swedish kids who watch a lot of English language television speak much better English than English-speaking kids in Canada who go through French in school. So being taught grammar doesn't mean that you can produce it correctly. Rather, and I keep on harping on this, lots of exposure, lots of listening, lots of reading, eventually speaking, making mistakes, picking up on your mistakes, listening some more. Gradually that's going to ingrain these habits, because for a speaker of a language which is not inflected very much like English, it's a difficult habit to get into that even you may know theoretically, je vais, tu vas, il va, nous allons, vous allez, ils vont. When you go to speak, the brain doesn't want to do it because it's not used to doing it until you've had enough exposure. So I just wanted to make that point, and it's gonna be a short one today, and I'm gonna end up with a few shots from my iPhone. First, you'll see some of the fields. I think these are canola fields, a bumper crop up there in the Peace River. And then I went, of course, to visit our sawmill up there, and the mill manager, Real, and his wife, Kim, took us on the Peace River, and it's fairly far north. I mean, there's not very many people. And rather than, normally we stay at Real's place in the town of Manning, which is about 1,000 people in the town. Lots of farms in the area. The next town is probably 100, significant town is 100 kilometers away. So anyway, we went on the river, up the river a ways, to a little kind of cabin he has, no running water, no electricity, and we sat there and we cooked up some steaks, drank some wine. The wine we got extra protein from the flies that were in our wine, and just again, it was like 30 degrees Celsius, whatever that is in Fahrenheit, during the day, sunny and very warm. In the morning, at around 7 in the morning, as we were on the river heading back to Manning, it was 6 degrees Celsius. That's how big the difference is. So I will end up then with these videos, and thank you for listening. Bye for now.
are as we're about to get on the boat here on the Mighty Peace River, delivered by that truck, and about to get on. And I will shut this down before I fall getting into the boat.
You can send me the...
Yeah. So here we are, we're approaching, this is an abandoned Indian lodge. This is where, during the early wars between the different tribes, this was the home of the chief.
Historical site.
Which, and we're not allowed to trespass here, but the arsonists do it regularly. And we hope the RCMP doesn't find us.
We're going to hit shore here.
All right. I thought you were gonna shave the little, and then
We don't have time. It's gonna get dark.
rub those sticks together and all the rest.
Fast way of making a fire.
Why don't you just scorch the meat directly? Anyway, boy, this is beautiful here. That is good. You know, you would have liked Romania.